serve swiftly. And that's why we're here today to join the Black Friday Global Day of Protests. Today we wear black alongside the Philippines and the rest of the world as we demand justice for the victims of the Duterte regime. Our security is around the perimeter watching out for us here today. Please raise your hands. I seek you volunteers. Thank you. We have a security lead and a police liaison, Brandon, who's over here. So if any law enforcement or even private security try to interact with you, please do not engage. And tell them we have a police liaison and that you can direct them towards Brandon. First, Freddie's gonna teach us a chant.
Okay, so when I say Duterte panagutin, you respond Marcos singilin, okay? That means hold Duterte accountable, make Marcos pay. Let's try it, okay? Duterte panagutin, Marcos singilin! Duterte panagutin, Marcos singilin! Duterte panagutin, Marcos singilin! Okay, remember that, because we're going to do that throughout the day.
Okay, our first speaker today is Brandon of Malaya Movement Portland, which is a broad movement of individuals, organizations, and various formations under the objectives to defend human rights, democracy, and sovereignty in the Philippines.
Thanks, Carolyn. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Good afternoon. Before we begin, I would like to start with a moment of silence for the 30,000 plus lives taken by the Duterte regime and the hundreds more under the current Marcos regime. Let us begin. My name is Brandon, speaking on behalf of Malaya Portland, a grassroots organization originally founded by concerned community leaders that represented every sector of the Filipino community here in the U.S., from faith leaders to youth and students, business owners to human rights advocates, to express their fullest condemnation of the fascist Duterte regime. Duterte's arrest for crimes against humanity is a tremendous victory for the Filipino people. Made possible through the tireless efforts of the families, people's lawyers, activists, and organizations who refuse to let Duterte escape accountability despite widespread impunity afforded him by the Philippine government. They dedicated their lives to seeking justice and never backed down in the face of Duterte's fascist regime. 30,000. I'll say it again. Over 30,000 Filipinos have been violently exterminated by Rodrigo Duterte and his maniacally homicidal drug war without any due process. His fascist rule left a devastating impact on Philippine society. In 2017, Duterte declared martial law in Mindanao under the guise of suppressing rebellion, but was merely an excuse to drive out indigenous Moro people from their lands and sow terror among his populace. In 2020, in the bitter height of the COVID-19 pandemic, while so many of our kababayan were already dying from the virus and deprived of life-saving COVID vaccines through a vicious US-backed anti-China disinformation campaign that his Facebook trolls paved the way for, Duterte locked up our kababayan to die in prison cells that acted like COVID incubation chambers, simply for being out past his curfew. Nevertheless, we still remain with cautious optimism at Duterte's arrest for crimes against humanity. We remain vigilant given political instability this will no doubt cause. We know the Marcoses are making their own moves behind the scenes in the lead up to the 2025 midterm elections. But let us remember that Marcos Jr. is just as culpable for crimes against the Filipino people. And the Filipino people deserve better. we are unwavering and united in our commitment to seek justice and accountability for the Filipino people and Duterte's victims, and express the following demands. 1. Put Duterte behind bars for his crimes against humanity. 2. Arrest Bato de la Rosa and Duterte's co-perpetrators. 3. Justice for Duterte's victims and their families. 4. Accountability for Marcos Jr. by reinstating the Philippines officially in the ICC, and human rights violations under his administration, end the killing, end de facto martial law in the countryside, and dismantle the NTF-ELCAC. Make no mistake, Duterte's arrest is a step towards victory, not just for international justice, but for the people and the land of the Philippines. We will get justice for every victim of extrajudicial killings, every exploited overseas Filipino worker abandoned by their government, every Filipino forced to go abroad because these fascists sell out our country's sovereignty to fatten their bank accounts. If you are Filipino, sign our letter in support of Duterte's arrest. We want to show a united movement of Filipinos in the diaspora. We'll circulate flyers with a QR code, or you can head to malayamovement.com and find the link there. After you sign it, consider joining Malaya, and let's fight for genuine democracy, sovereignty, and human rights in the Philippines. Once again, my name is Brandon with Malaya PDX, and thank you all for being here.